Okay, I'm going to finally demonstrate how to properly set up a clean, with quotation marks, because mine's basically set up, but a clean version of Windows 10. From the moment you install, I'm going to assume that you've installed Windows 10 by now, you got all your drivers installed, and you have Windows Update 100% done. And that's it. You haven't touched anything else, just installed Windows, updated drivers, updated OS. Once you have that, then we're going to show you how to properly configure Windows 10. First things first is we're going to bring up PowerShell. I'm going to start with this first. Right-click PowerShell admin. Then you're going to run this command. This one right here, get-app packages / all users, blah, 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 remove packs. We're going to copy that. We're going to paste it there, and we're going to hit enter. This will remove all bloatware from Windows 10. For the most part, it should remove all of it, but I think there's a few packages that get left behind, and they're a little bit more trickier to get rid of, and I'm not going to go in depth on how to remove those, because you could actually end up breaking Windows by doing it that way, by removing a couple ones. If you get some red errors like this, don't worry about it. This is all based on the red errors show up based on what version of Windows you're running. I'm running the newest version, 1803, which is build 17133. It will be released to general population or start rolling out to general population April 7th of this year. So that command does this. It removes all the universal applications. The ones that get left are Kinect, Cortana, Edge, Mixed Reality Portal, obviously Settings, and Defender. Now, I'm going to make a quick note here. You can get rid of Kinect, you can get rid of Cortana, and you can get rid of Edge, and you can get rid of Portal. You can't get rid of Settings, and you can't get rid of Defender. You can hide Defender, but we're going to keep it for now because you really don't need a third-party virus scan, in my opinion. I will not show you how to get rid of Kinect, and I will not show you how to get rid of Edge or Portal or Cortana. However, we are going to disable both. We're going to disable Cortana because she's useless and garbage, and we're going to disable Edge because it's useless and garbage too. So once you ran that command to get rid of all the universal applications, we're going to go, this would be the basic start menu for Windows 10-ish, except for I removed all pinned tasks for it. So what I'm going to do here, quickly, just to make this look like, go personalize, go start, and I'm going to turn off, I got full screen on. We're not going to do it. There, so now we'll bring it back up, good. So once you got rid of that, the next thing you want to do is basically remove this start menu or hide it. And what you're going to do for that is you're going to go back here and you're going to go www.stardock.com because Stardock Start 10 right here is a way better option than using Classic Menu or Classic Shell, I think it's called now. It costs $5, but it's way better. I mean, absolutely 110% better than Classic Shell. So I've already got this installed, and this is what you saw here. This is my Windows 7 quotation marks for Windows 10. So now that we have all the universal apps, on install, and we have all the proper start menu installed, we are going to finally tweak Windows 10. And I have to strongly assume you're running Windows 10 Professional or higher, because you cannot do this on Windows Home. And if you are on Windows Home, you better go out and buy a copy or an upgrade of Windows 10 Professional. I don't care if you're using a laptop, a tablet, or a desktop. Windows 10 Professional is the only... I got a dog barking, hold on. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go run gpedit.msc, and it will bring up this. Now we're going to maximize this, and we're going to take a good 30 minutes-ish, I'm assuming, to configure Windows 10. The first we're going to do is we're going to go administrator. We'll check each individual setting out one at a time, just so I can help you guys know what's what. And I will point out a few ones as I see them. Okay, I'm doing this one for myself. You also would do this if you have a third-party firewall. If you have a third-party firewall, I highly suggest tweaking this. If you, like me, and don't use firewalls, this is also worth tweaking. So you go to network connections, domain profile, we'll start with domain. Even if you're not on a domain, we'll start with domain. And go, we'll sort this by name. And there's one called Protect All Network Connections. We'll bring that up, and I'm going to disable it. So now firewall is not protecting domains now, and standard disable. This will permanently disable Windows Firewall. It will never come back on if you have this, and no other third-party software can change it, or Windows can't reset it. We'll look at start menu really quick. Now, if you remember Windows 8, you could have your apps automatically pinned to your start menu. But since we're no longer using that garbage start menu, this is irrelevant. Now we'll go to system really quick, and I'm going to just quickly jump down the system list. For some people that want we will enable this. Enable Win32 long paths is kind of handy, especially working with DOS or PowerShell. Now you can set your power button settings here. Select the lid switch action on battery. If you were on a laptop, you would go enable, and then you would go take no action. That way, if you shut your lid down, it won't go into sleep, shut down, or hibernate. It'll just turn the lid off itself. Same here. If it's plugged in, you go enable, and you go take no action. When the power button's pressed on battery, we will shut it down. Power button pressed when plugged in, we will also shut it down. So if you press that power button, it will shut down regardless. Sleep, enable, take no action. Because we don't like devices going to sleep at all. And that's including mobile devices. So take no action. When the power button's pressed, it will shut down. And shut down. Okay, cool. So now that you got your power settings shut, energy saver, We will leave this for now. Hard disk settings. I turn it off every 5. Oh, that's seconds. I need a calculator. Of course, I just removed that calculator. Where is my... I have a calculator. I gotta find it. I have a, it's ironic because I just uninstalled all my... I actually have one. I don't know where it is. It's called Classic Calculator or something like that. And I can tell you what it is here in a second if I, It should be coming up in the search result, oddly enough, but I think it's not doing it because I didn't restart after. So it's called Old Calculator for Windows. I know that. Okay. Old Calculator. Now, where is that actually installed? I'll just pull it up manually. Because apparently I don't have it. I don't have it on the start menu for some reason. Where's network? Sorry, we're taking a small detour, guys. I just had that there. Really? Okay, you know what? Yes, I will reinstall this even. I know it's already installed. Okay, so it's... Really? Okay, so it should be installed again. It was installed the first time, but for some odd reason... This is really stupid. I know where I have it installed, and I'm blinder than a bat. And it should be... It should just show up in the search. See, it's right there. It shows up there. It should have showed up in the other one. Anyways, now that we got that, we're going to go 60 times 5 minutes equals 300. I should have known that by default. Okay, so 300 there. These will shut off the hard drives in 5 minutes. Notification settings. we won't worry about that power throttling. Turn off power throttling, we'll turn that off. Because you should never power throttle sleep setting. Turn off hybrid. We will turn these off, because if you know what the hybrid start up, start down is, then you know what this is. So we'll kill those for now, because you don't need that on any device. Okay, video and display settings. Reduce dim. We won't reduce dimness. We'll disable it so your screen never dims out. We'll disable it here as well. We'll leave that for now. We'll turn this off. Adaptive. We don't need adaptive, and then we'll do it again. There. We'll turn off the display. 60 seconds. Same thing for plugged in. 60 seconds. We'll turn that on. And then we'll turn this on. So now you got your power settings configured. Guess what? You didn't have to bring up power options for that. We'll enable this so you can allow the system to recover if you need to. We'll check the shutdown. Require use of fast startup. Disable. Enable. So you know when you shut down, it says these applications can't close. Would you like to force close them? This is what this is for. Wait, that's turn off automatic termination. Oh, sorry, you have to disable that. If you disable or not configure, this application will automatically terminate during shutdown, helping... Okay, so that was... I read that wrong, but I know what that is. So you disable that. Storage health. We'll keep that there. System restore. You, disable these ones so you don't accidentally turn off system restore. If you have this disabled, you can't turn it off. It will always be on. It's just a safety precaution, especially for malware that likes to disable system restore. I'm going to quickly bring up my browser onto my other menu, window really quick. Okay, so now that we're still going through here, Windows File Protection, hide the scan, no. Okay, so those ones for the most part would probably be done. So the ones that really matter now are the Windows components, and this is where things really start to go. Add features to Windows 10, prevent the wizard from running, we'll keep that. The ones that we need... Allow Microsoft account to be optional. We'll enable that. I personally like turning autoplay off on all drives, so that you don't get that stupid pop-up that's saying, what would you like to do with this? You can allow the use of your camera, so this is where your camera settings are for people that are paranoid with built-in cameras. I'm keeping that enabled for obvious. Now this one matters. Data collection, we're going to go through every single one of these settings. Allow device name to be sent to Microsoft. No, we're not. Allow template. Definitely not. Configure authorize. We will disable this. Configure connected user experience, and nope, we're not sending any data. Now you know where to go when Microsoft, or you say Windows 10 is spying on you. These are the settings to configure. Configure temporary opt-in change notification. No, we're not going to configure that. Same thing here, no as well. Most of these will probably be a disable routine. And for some odd reason, they weren't disabling, so... Oh, sorry, that's why. Derp, I'm going to go back on this really quick. So this one you have to enable, and then you say disable change note. So you disable it there and go apply. Same thing here, disable telemetry opt-in settings. And we'll disable your commercial ID. Configure your commercial ID. Disable. Do not show feedback notifications. Yes, we will not want to see those notifications. Limit enhanced diagnostic date to a minimum required by Windows Analyst. Yes, we will. Disable Windows Analyst collection. That will send no data. And then toggle user control over insider builds. Enable, disable. We will disable the toggle user control of inside. If you disable this policy, Windows Insider programs will be unavailable to users through settings apps. Okay, so there's a lot of your data collection settings that supposedly Windows spies on you and collects data on you. Desktop gadgets. We go through every single one of these. Restrict unpacking and installing. Turn off desktop gadgets. Enable. Turn off user installed. Enable. And that's how you fully remove desktop gadgets that used to be a thing in Vista 7 and Windows 8 you could get it. And in fact, you can actually get it running in Windows 10. But to make sure we're not wasting any system resources, we're going to kill them. We're not going to allow 3D flip. Do not allow Windows animations because you want a snappy system. Windows animations are just garbage. And we'll keep this on, because I personally have a video in the background. Okay, we're gonna keep slowly scrolling. Edge UI is our next one. Allow edge swipe. Disable. Disable tips. Enabled. So you won't get help tips. And we're gonna go down to File Explorer really quick. Previous versions, hide previous versions, file list, hide. No, no, no. Those are just fine. And then we'll go back into the root. We are going to disable this so you don't see the hibernation in the power, because we will permanently disable hibernation. We will disable sleep in the power option menu. We will enable this. It's called, this is another one of those funky settings where you actually read it and it makes no sense to enable it, but you do. It says start File Explorer with ribbons minimized, but wait, what? No, you go enable and then you go display full ribbons when File Explorer is open for first time. That means your ribbons will always be opened. And that should be good for that file history. Turn off file history. Disable. This means that file history will always be on, and you can't have a third-party program hijack your backups. Find My Device is also important. Turn off. Turn on, off, find, enable, disable. Let's quickly want to read this one too. When my device is off the device and its locations have not been registered in my device, the users will have. So we will keep that disabled. So you can't turn on, off My Device, and it should be off by default. We could revisit this setting one more time later. Now, there's a lot of Internet Explorer stuff here. And I'm pretty sure we should probably be keeping all this as not configured. I do want to double check it because I believe there is an actual setting that we should change. If I'm correct, I've done it before. I used to have all these settings changed, but I was having issues upgrading to the newest Windows build that I had to actually default all my settings back, which is why I'm doing this video now, because I have to change them all back now. Because there's a lot to turn off. You could tweak this yourself for Explorer. If you use Explorer, I would suggest using anything other than Chrome, so this might still be a good option. But I'm pretty sure there's an actual option here that allows you to make sure Internet Explorer always is your main browser over Microsoft Edge. And that's what I'm quickly looking for. Either way, I will show you how to do it another way, but there is a way to make sure that IE is always above and always in use over Edge. I'm pretty sure it's under Internet Advanced Settings, Browsing. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Hide the button next to the new tab button to open Edge. Yes, we don't want Edge showing up in there. So we'll turn that down really quick. Okay, so this is what I was looking for. It's called Show How Links Are Open in Internet Explorer. We're going to enable this. Let always in Internet Explorer for the desktop. And hit apply. And then if you do use tiles on the start menu down here, the default one, we will go in open Internet tiles on the desktop and we'll go apply it there. So that partially cripples Edge right there. There's other ways to fully cripple Edge, but we're slowly getting there. Locations and sensors. Turn off location. Enable. Location scripting. Enable. And next, turn off sensors. Enable. So now that you're not being tracked, this is very, very handy on mobile devices. And then the Windows location. Turn off Windows location provider. Enable. So now that you're not being tracked, regardless where you walk or what your IP address is telling the servers. Here's part of Microsoft Edge. These are all your Microsoft Edge settings. Allow extensions, disable. I don't ever highly suggest using extensions and add-ons for any browser. This will prevent Edge itself from being bloated if you do use it. Allow Adobe Flash will disable that because you shouldn't be using Adobe Flash anywhere anymore. We will enable this if you are an Edge user. This will allow you to keep favorites sync between Internet Explorer and Microsoft Edge. So if you bookmark one on one browser, it will go to another one. Very handy if you do use Edge. Okay, so that's basically for actual Edge settings that we will keep. For Microsoft User Experience Visualization, we don't have to do anything here. Okay, this one's also important. We're going to go through every single OneDrive because OneDrive built in Windows is garbage. So we're going to start with the top. We are going to prevent OneDrive from syncing over a connection, block syncing, measure connection, all of them. Hit apply. Next. Prevent OneDrive from generating network until the user signs into OneDrive. Enable. This will prevent OneDrive from ever sending data if you're not signed in. Prevent the usage of OneDrive for file storage. Enable that too. Prevent the usage for file storage on Windows 8. We'll do that even though it's not Windows 8. We will still enable that. And save documents to OneDrive by default. We will disable this. So for the most part, enable, disable pretty much will cripple OneDrive. And for the most part, unless you absolutely need to manually control your remote desktop service, you will go through here and you'll go through session host and connection client mostly. I personally have no reason to walk you guys through this one. This will be mostly for offices or special setups that require this. The other big one we will go through is search. Search is a big one. We will go and we will mostly, this is where you start to cripple Cortana, and this is very important. We will go allow cloud search, disable. You cannot cloud search using Cortana. And then the next one, allow Cortana, disable. This will pretty much cripple her right then and there. Allow Cortana above the lock screen, disable. We will get rid of her there too. Allow Cortana in the out-of-box experience and add account, we will disable this as well. Allow indexing of encrypted files. Now, this is more of a personal one. I personally like enabling indexing my encryption files because it'll show up in the search index, which is handy. So I will personally do this. If you're a security freak and you don't want your encryption files to show up, you would disable this option. Allow search and Cortana to use location. We will disable this. And then we'll close the box for now. We will not configure that one. Okay, this is an important one. Do not allow web searches. We will enable this. So your search down at here, or if I went Control or Windows C, I believe it's Windows C or Windows S. It's Windows S. So if you start typing in here, you will not get search web results at all. It'll all be local searches. Don't search the web or display web search in the center. We'll enable this so you don't get web searches. There's a few settings that are basically all the same, but you have to make sure they're configured. And we will enable this one too. Don't search the web or display web results in search over a metered connection. We will disable this. Enable indexing of online deleted mailboxes. We will disable indexing uncached Exchange folders. We will not touch, we will actually disable this. Enable throttling for online mailbox indexing. This depends on your index settings. If you do allow indexing in mailboxes, you don't want to throttle it. That will prevent it. Here are some of the prevention ones. We're not going to change any of these for the most part. We are going to disable this. Prevent indexing when running on battery to consume energy. No, indexing will happen regardless. We will enable this. We will go small icons to add more on your search results. And this will always force small icons. I'm a big fan of disabling this. Stop indexing in the event of hard drive space. If you're running out of hard drive space, you have a bigger problem. We'll go down to shutdown options. We won't change any of those, as far as I can see. No, we won't. We will turn off this. Turn off KMS Client Online AVS Validations. Enable data will not be sent to Microsoft. Store. This is a big one too. We will open this. We will go disable all apps from the Microsoft Store. We will enable that. Now, if you are a store user and you do like using this, we will configure these settings for you. Turn off automatic download and install of updates. This is up to you. If you don't want your apps to automatically download and update, you would go enable here. Same thing, this is for Windows 8 machines, but it's enabled. When you enable one, it carries over to the other, so we'll leave that there for now. You can turn off the offer to update to the latest version of Windows. This actually only works for Windows Server 2012 8 and RT, but for now we will enable this. And if you want to completely turn off the store itself, the actual application, you could do it this way too. However, we did that when we uninstalled the Universal apps altogether, so that would turn off the store application right there. Sync your settings. Now this is somewhat important too. If you don't want to sync your settings, I personally will do it this way. Disable there so you can sync them. Disable that one, which means you can sync your app settings. I will enable this so your apps don't sync. I will disable so your browser settings do sync. Your desktop won't sync. This won't sync over a meta. Disable, your other Windows settings will sync. Do not sync passwords. Disable, they will sync. Personalization, they won't sync. and your start settings won't sync either. And this, the reason why you set it somewhat up like that is if you're a Windows desktop user and a tablet user, your tablet settings will screw with your desktop settings if you sync them. And your desktop will probably end up looking like your tablet, which is not a good idea. Talk about tablet. Well, here we are on the tablet side. Tablet PC. Now there is a... I have to find it. I'm not sure if it's under this one, but there's a GP edit setting that disables Windows tablet mode altogether, and we will do that once we find it. Okay, so it's not under there. And these settings I'm setting up, I want to remind that they're for setting up a desktop PC, a laptop PC, and a tablet. All these settings, for the most part, you do all on the same. You treat every device as if it was the same device, no matter which one you're using. Windows Air Reporting, we will configure this. No, we won't. Automatically send memory dumps, OS generated, no, we won't. Configure Air Reporting, yes, we will configure this. Do not display a link to provide, do not collect additional files, do not collect miscellaneous data, force queue, monitor, and that's what we'll do. We'll just, those ones, so we can turn, disable logging, yes, we will. Disable Windows Air Reporting. Yes, we will. Display notification. No, we won't. Do not send additional data. Yes, we will not send do not throttle additional data. We will not throttle additional data. Prevent display of the user interface for critical errors. No, we kind of need those. Those are your BSODs. Send additional data on disable on battery. Send data when connected to restricted. No. So there's your air reporting. We'll go advanced air. We'll go next. Actually, we probably don't have to do any of this. Except for this. No, we don't. Consent level. Always ask before sending data. We'll leave that in. So you should, if anything ever asks, you will know for a fact what's getting sent. Enable or disable game recording. We will disable this so you can't use the Windows game recording and broadcasting feature. This will, not that you can now anyways, because once again the Xbox app isn't here. So we're freeing up system resources. Use biometrics, disable on this one. And that's, as far as I know, the only thing we have to worry about on this one. We will disable the workspace, the ink workspace that used to be down here that I don't have. We will log this. You can configure yourself for your logins. We won't worry about it, but some of these, if you really want to get down into your login, you can configure some of these. to match your requirements. We will enable this. Prevent Windows Media DRM Internet access. We will not allow Windows Messenger to run at all. And we will not automatically start it. Now, we won't worry about this. I would personally disable it on a mobile device, but that would be up to you guys. This next one is important for everybody out there that says Windows 10 automatically downloads updates and installs them is wrong. And we're going to show you why. We're going to start with Windows Update for Business first. Manage preview builds. We are going to enable this to disable this. We will enable this one to targeted, semi-annual targeted, and we will hit apply. Select when preview builds and fast updates, featured updates are received. Feature updates are received when they hit the annual channel. That's it. Select when quality updates are received. We'll just leave this as not configured. And then we'll go back up. These are important. Allow automatic updates immediately install. No, we don't. We will allow no one that's not an administrator to update. We will disable this. You will not get updates over a metered connection. We will not allow automatic update restart at a scheduled time. We won't configure this one at all. This one is very, very important. I can't stress this more than enough. This is a major one. It's called Configure Automatic Updates. We will enable this to disable this. We will allow download, automatic download, but notify for install. And this is very, very important. Because if you go notify for download, it will automatically install. You can automatically download and schedule the install, but that's more annoying than it's worth. We will just automatically download, and you will get notified when it installs. And install during maintenance time. This is a personal preference. I like to have it enabled. And my maintenance time is, scheduled time is at 1 o'clock. And install, this is important. Install updates from other Microsoft products. Hit apply. That's a big one. We will periodically remind you this is also important. "240 minutes, you can reset it back to you." Same thing with this. User action. Always user action. By user action, you have to do it yourself. Now, I got this one backwards. You want this one to let you know within 2 hours and warning 15 minutes that if for some odd reason something automatically updates, you can get it before it does it. Delay, yes, we are going to delay it. We're going to delay it by 9999999. There we go. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, you know what? These are in minutes, so let's just go like that. Oh, the maximum, oh, the maximum is really 30 is the maximum? Okay. Well, we'll do that anyways. It used to be higher. This is also another big one. You do not include drivers with Windows updates. Yes. You don't want Windows updates to do your drivers. You should be doing that manually yourself with your video card and your motherboard drivers from the website. Okay. No auto restart when logged on users for schedule automatic. We will not auto restart. Reprompt. Yes, we will reprompt. We're going to put this to 144. So ask you, it'll give you a reprompt every 1,444 minutes if you want to delay it or restart it. We'll do the same thing here again. 60 minutes for that one, the most value you can get for this. Maximum range is 18 hours. We will enable this. We will, this is one of those backwards ones. Specify deadline before automatic, before auto restart for updates, which is 2 hours, so you can catch it really quick. Turn off, yes. Active hours is between 12 and 11. This will turn off auto restart for updates during these hours, all 24 periods. You'll do the same for this one too. Turn off auto restart notification. Actually, we will disable this. You want to know about your notification restart. And this is an important one. Turn on recommended updates via yes. We want to make sure we get all our updates. And yes, we will turn on software notification. So those are the big ones for Windows updates. Now, somewhere in here was an Edge setting that I bypassed and we haven't found it yet, or I can't remember where it is, that disables Edge altogether, but when we're still looking, we'll get it. So now that you got system-wide settings, now we're going to go down to user-wide settings. And same thing here. These ones you don't have to worry. It's the administration one we'll worry about, so we'll go through some of these. Always open, yes. Always open all control panel items when control panel. So that does that. So these are more or less personal settings. Most of these you shouldn't have to touch. We'll go with desktop really quick. Active desktop. And then we'll quickly enable active desktop. We will disable active desktop. Disable active desktop. We will enable disabling active desktop. See, that's a really, they have that in there twice. Why? I don't know. And those are the only two you should have to worry about, is making sure active desktop never runs. And for most part, you should just be able to not worry about that. Not that. You can tweak your we will turn off toast notifications. Yeah, we will make sure they're not mirrored. And we'll leave that for now. Now we'll go down to system settings, control delete options for signing in. That's up to you. Driver installation. We will turn off Windows device driver search prompt. We're going to double click. If this is cellular, you will not be prompted to search Windows updates. Oh, yes, I know what these are. We'll leave that. That's for device manager. That's not for Windows updates or Windows search. Now we'll just jump to Windows components, because I'm willing to pretty much bet that you don't need to change any of these unless you absolutely have to. Once again, this is important, and I'm going to shrink it again. Under user configuration, you have to go administration template, Windows settings, and go back to data collection. You also have to turn it off here. I mean, enable it to disable it. Actually, we'll just disable it altogether. So that one is disabled altogether. That won't send anything. Turn off desktop gadgets. Restrict unpacking, yep. Enable that one. Turn off user installed, yeah. So some of these settings are being mirrored from your overall one. And that should be it for those ones really quick. Okay, now somewhere in here, and I want to double check up here. I'm going to quickly jump back to here where it says File Explorer. And I'm just double checking to see if there was a OneDrive option. Okay, we'll go back here. Where's File Explorer? Turn on Always Show. Preview panel, turn off. Preview panel disabled. So that you can always have the preview panel. And then we're gonna quickly sort this by name. Do not display the welcome. I'm pretty sure this was actually for Windows Vista, but yeah, see, Windows Vista only will enable it anyways. Your maximum size recycle bin, you can configure this if you want to. You can also do it through the recycle bin too. And I don't see the OneDrive on here either, so they may have moved it. Do not allow users to enable. Oh, right, we need this. I know what that's for. Once again, do not allow Adobe Flash on Edge. Disable extensions. Under search, we shouldn't have to do anything. Yeah, we don't have to do anything on search on that either. Turn off store application, we'll enable that on this side too. We'll enable that as well. Error reporting. Now, most of the system ones should overwrite these ones, so ask before sending data, make sure you do that. Disable, enable. I'm just going to quickly, because most of these we done on the system wide. Enable, enable. Do not throttle. Send additional data when on battery power. Disable. That'll take out Windows Hello. Mobile Center, once again, this is up to you. PowerShell, and then updates again. Those should be just left alone. Okay, so there you go. Your Windows 10 is basically configured out of the box now. We're going to go here. I'm going to bring up settings here. Apps, we'll do these really quick for you guys. And we'll go default apps. If, you know, it comes up, there we go. Default apps. Your mail client should be anything other than mail, so I use EMC. Your maps, because we uninstalled our universal maps, we don't have one. Your music player should be something other than the universal one. Your photo should be anything other than your universal photo. Video player, same thing. And your web browser, pick your poison. I like having an Explorer as my default one. Which brings me back to that. We'll go start control panel again really quick. And then when you're in the control panel, you're going to go internet options. You're going to go about blank, hit apply. You're going to go program. And this should be grayed out because of some systems are managed by your, this is from GPEdit. So now that anytime you click on something, it will always load in Internet Explorer, assuming Internet Explorer is your default browser. It pretty much cripples Edge. And talk about crippling now. If I go here and I go Cortana, she's completely crippled. She absolutely, she can't do anything. So once again, I'll show you that. So if I go here, go Cortana, Universal Apps Cortana, it just basically takes you to the default Windows search, which is no longer being powered by Cortana, but being used by your older version or Windows 7 and lower. Okay, Windows 8 and lower, I guess. Index searching. So if I go Cal here, best match there, and eventually this should also show up. It should be somewhere in here, but for some odd reason my old calculator isn't showing up here, which I'm finding a little odd because it should be. But that's probably because I just recently installed or updated Windows 10 that the index has to research it up. Although there technically should be a folder for it somewhere. So that's basically how you configure Windows 10 out of the box. There's a few other things you need to do, like go CMD. No, I'm really spelling that, CMD. Right click it. This is also important. Run as administrator and type in power CFG/H off. And I will show you what that did on the fly. So I got 98.7 gigs. So if I turn that back on, watch what just happened here. I got 86 gigs. What this is by default, Windows, even if you have hibernation turned off in your power settings as well as in your GP edit like we just did, the hibernation file will always remain on the drive by default, and your hibernation file is roughly the same size as your memory, give or take. I have 32 gigs on here. It's not obviously using 32 gigs yet, but if I kept it enabled, it would use 32. So if I type power CFG/H off, hit enter, we got 98 gigs. So we essentially get 13 gigs back by default, having hibernation off. Very important. Can't stress that enough, that you should always use power CFG/H space off the moment you install any Windows. Any Windows. I gotta clarify, that works ever since Windows XP and newer. There was one other thing that you should do, and for the life of me, I am drawing a blank. So if we close that, shut it down, bring it back up. Okay, it's not up, but it should remain up. So see, now your preview panel, that's a few other things. Your preview panel and your display panel, if they're grayed out, that's because you set GP edit like we did. So your preview panel and whatnot will remain there. I'm going to quickly bring that back up really quick, and I'm going to show you how to do it really fast so you don't have to hunt and peck what you changed. If you ever need to change anything, you type it again, gpedit.msc. You go administration tablet, and then you go all settings, and this will combine all settings, but then you go state. So now that we're state, and we're looking for the preview panel, so anything you ever changed will show up here. And if, since I know what I'm looking for, it is under Explorer, I could do this quicker just by going here. Changing it by state now. Or is it in Explorer on the other one? It's in neither. I thought it was in Explorer. Ha ha! I punt and pecking a setting that I changed. Because apparently the new build of Windows 10 does something slightly different with the preview and detail panel. Oh, I've already crossed into the knot. Okay. Let me just see what all settings on this side look like, because there shouldn't be many settings on here. We're gonna reconfigure that really quick. I'm gonna kill this browser real quick and see if that brings it back up. Okay. Question is, so that was Windows Component File Explorer for, oh, yeah, I see, I knew that. So if you have it configured on both user configuration and system-wide configuration overtakes user configuration. Which is odd because preview panel should have came back up. Oh, always show. Haha. So we'll do that as well. Sorry. So now if I go back here, close it, reopen it, view it, now you can see what Windows 10 does. Your preview panel and your detail panel are all on the same panel. It used to be at the bottom, so we're going to slightly reconfigure this. We're going to leave that one as not configured. And we're going to leave that one as configured. Because you can't have both panels at the same time now, which kind of sucks. Because you used to be able to. So, now that we've got Windows set up, we're going to show you how some of those settings actually affect your system now. Like under settings, update security, it says some settings are managed by your organization. It's like these settings you can no longer change. You did them through GPEdit. No other software can change it either. So Windows now, if I go check for update, You see, this is a perfect example. It'll say it's downloading this update. And that should have not installed. Ha, lols. That should have definitely not installed. That should have notified me, but that's probably because I clicked the button to do it. We'll just double check GP edit on that, but that... Allow auto download and notify for update. That should have definitely not asked me to automatically install it. What other ones do we really have here for quick? Allow automatic update, immediate installation. Yeah, no, that's right. Maybe that's because that was part of Windows Defender, but that still shouldn't have, as far as I know, shouldn't have asked for a download. I mean, automatically installed. It should have downloaded and then it should have asked me to install. Once again, this is a new build to Windows 10, so they could have changed a few things. This is actually my first time running this build. And this build is, as you can see, this build is 1803 installed on. Build is going to be 17133.1. So there you have it. That's a really long-ish guide on how to fully configure Windows 10 properly. So you can have, supposed to have full control over everything. Okay, well, I'm signing off. That would be all for that. Hope you guys learned a thing or two about Windows 10 and how Windows 10 actually is handled over versus what people say how it's ran. FYI, Windows does not spy on you, and you can control your Windows updates are the two biggest grapes. Apparently people don't understand. That doesn't actually happen. You can have full control over Windows updates, and Windows 10 definitely doesn't spy on you. Later.